Since 2018, there's been an unspoken rule among the maintenance crews of Yosemite National Park, a warning passed down in hushed tones from veteran workers to nervous new hires. It's not written in any official manual. You won't find it posted on any bulletin board. But everyone who's ever had the midnight shift knows it by heart. If you're out on the trails after the sun has long since vanished behind the granite cliffs, and you happen to see a lone janitor cleaning the path after midnight, you do not speak to him. You don't make eye contact. You don't acknowledge his presence. You simply turn around and walk away. Because the man in the old gray jumpsuit isn't really there. And interacting with him could mean you won't be there much longer either. This chilling tradition began on a clear summer night, June 22nd, 2018. It was a routine evening for Luis Morales, a dedicated and well-liked member of the maintenance team. His task was simple: a standard night cleanup of the popular mist trail. It was a job he'd done 100 times before, sweeping away the day's debris under the quiet gaze of the moon. At 47 minutes past midnight, he radioed in a routine status check. Everything was normal, but that was the last anyone ever heard from Luis Morales. When he didn't check in for his end-of-shift report, a search party was dispatched. They didn't find Luis. What they found was far more unsettling. There, on a wooden bench near Vernal Fall, was his work uniform, folded with almost military precision. It was the standard-issue gray jumpsuit from 2018, the fabric still slightly damp from the trail's mist. His name tag, Luisemo, was pinned perfectly to the chest. His tools were propped neatly against the bench, but of Liz himself there was no sign. He had vanished into the mountain air, leaving behind only his clothes and a mystery that would haunt the park for years to come. The official report listed him as a missing person, another soul claimed by the vast, unforgiving wilderness. But the workers who knew the trails, who felt the park's ancient energy in their bones, they knew this was different. This wasn't a fall. This wasn't an animal. This was something else entirely. The story of the vanishing janitor became a cautionary tale, a ghost story told to keep rookies on their toes. But it was just a story until 7 years later, when the ghost decided to show his face. The breakthrough, if you can call it that, came on December 18th, 2025. For 7 long years, the mystery of Luis Morales had faded into park folklore. But technology has a way of capturing things the human eye is meant to miss. A new maintenance worker, equipped with a standard-issue body cam for safety documentation, was filming his own routine cleanup on the very same stretch of the mist trail. The time was 12:52 a.m., almost the exact time Luis said made his final radio call all those years ago. The footage is chilling in its mind. For several minutes, the camera just shows the rocky path illuminated by the worker's headlamp. The trail is completely empty. The only sound, the crunch of his boots and the distant roar of the waterfall. He pans the camera left, then right. Nothing. But then, as he turns back, the camera catches it. There, in the middle of the trail, is a figure. The shape is unmistakable. A person in a gray jumpsuit, the kind the park hadn't used since 2018. The figure is pushing a broom, sweeping the path with slow, deliberate strokes. But as the worker zooms in, a cold dread washes over you. The sleeves of the jumpsuit move. The hands grip the broom handle, but there's no body inside. The arms are hollow, the gloves seemingly animated by an unseen force. The jumpsuit itself is the only solid thing there. A walking, working uniform with no one wearing it. The worker freezes, his breathing becoming ragged and audible on the recording. The spectral janitor doesn't seem to notice him. It just keeps sweeping, eternally dedicated to its task. The body cam footage was terrifying enough, but what investigators discovered next turned a park mystery into a classified federal incident. They cross-referenced the audio from the 2025 body cam with the archived recordings from the 2018 missing person case of Luis Morales. Deep within the body cam's audio, almost lost beneath the sound of the wind and the waterfall, a voice can be heard. It's a faint, ethereal whisper, but it's undeniably human. The audio specialists isolated and enhanced it. The voice was a perfect match. It was the voice of Luis Morales, the man who had disappeared from this very spot 7 years prior. And what he was saying was impossible. "Sarah," the ghostly voice whispered, "the trail's almost clean. Your shift starts soon." Sarah was the name of the maintenance worker scheduled for the next day's morning shift, a schedule that had only been finalized a few hours before the body cam footage was recorded. The ghost of Luis Morales wasn't just haunting the trail. It knew the future. It was still on the clock, forever preparing the park for the next day's work. This discovery sent shockwaves through the park's administration and beyond. An internal investigation was launched, and what it uncovered was staggering. The report, now stamped with a heavy classified seal, documented 30 separate sightings of the Night Janitor since Luis Morales' disappearance in 2018. The pattern was always the same: a lone figure spotted after midnight, always wearing the outdated 2018 gray jumpsuit. In every single sighting, the entity was performing routine maintenance, often tasks scheduled for the following day. It would sweep leaves that hadn't fallen yet, or clear paths of debris from a storm that was still hours away. It always knew the next day's roster, sometimes whispering the names of workers who were still at home, asleep in their beds. And most disturbingly, in all 38 documented encounters, the moment a worker tried to approach it or speak to it, the figure would simply vanish, leaving behind nothing but an unnatural cold spot in the air and the faint scent of cleaning solution. The park was dealing with a precognitive, spectral employee who was still diligently doing his job from beyond the grave. The ghost of Luis Morales had become a permanent and terrifying part of the night crew. Faced with an unexplainable and potentially dangerous anomaly, the park administration had to act. They couldn't close the park, and they couldn't explain the truth to the public. So they did the only thing they could think of. On December 19th, 2025, a new mandatory rule was issued. All maintenance personnel, effective immediately, were to be issued brand new, bright blue jumpsuits. These weren't just a different color. They were fitted with a large, highly reflective Park Service logo on the back and chest, designed to be unmistakable even in low light. The old gray jumpsuits were collected and incinerated. The new directive came with a chilling, unofficial addendum passed verbally from supervisor to crew. If you are on a trail after midnight and you see a janitor, the first thing you check for is the reflective logo. If you see the old gray jumpsuit without the logo, you do not engage. You do not investigate. You have 5 minutes and 55 seconds to get off that trail. The time wasn't arbitrary. It was the exact duration of static that followed Luis Morales' final radio call before the line went dead forever. The park was no longer just dealing with a ghost. They were treating it as a countdown. The very next night, the new rule was put to the test. A 3-person team was performing a late-night safety check on the iconic half-dome cables. The climb is treacherous, even in daylight. At night, it's a world of darkness and sheer granite drops. One of the workers, filming with his own GoPro for personal use, captured the moment. The 48-second clip is pure nightmare fuel. The team is focused, checking anchor points. Then, one of the workers stops and turns to the others, his voice tight with confusion. "Hey," he says. "Wait a minute. There's 4 of us now." The person filming pans his camera up the cable. There are indeed 4 figures. 3 of them are in the new, bright blue jumpsuits with the glowing reflective logos. The 4th figure, positioned just ahead of them, is wearing the old 2018 gray jumpsuit. Ite has no logo, and in its hands, it's holding a mop that was logged as being in evidence. The very mop found next to Luis Morales's folded uniform 7 years ago. The figure isn't looking at them. It's wiping down a section of the steel cable, methodically cleaning a route for the next day's climbers, its movements silent and unnervingly efficient. The situation escalated just 24 hours later. It was December 21st. 11 minutes past midnight, a panicked, crackling transmission came in to park control from another crew working on the cables. The voice was frantic. "Control, we have 5 workers on the cables. Control, do you copy? There are only 4 of us clocked in." There's a pause, filled with heavy, terrified breathing. The 5th one. He's wearing the old gray suit. He just handed me my 2018 work schedule. My name is on it. The line cuts to static. That was the last transmission ever received from that crew. The next morning, 4 sets of the new blue jumpsuits were found folded neatly at the base of Half Dome, their reflective logos gleaming in the sunrise. The Park Service now had 4 more janitors on its permanent night shift. So if you ever find yourself walking the trails of Yosemite after dark, and you see the lone silhouette of a janitor in the distance, watch him. Watch him. If a helpful man in a gray jumpsuit offers to sweep the path ahead for you, check his uniform. If that reflective logo is missing, I suggest you run. Because the trail just posted a job opening, and you're the leading candidate. The park is always hiring, you see. And the Night Janitor never misses a shift. The darkness in our national parks runs deep. What we uncovered in Yosemite is just the beginning. In 48 hours, we're releasing our investigation into the Zion Night Guides. Subscribe and turn on your notifications before someone else sweeps your name right off the trail.